He skipped the translation part. Hey Batatu, CP also shows the Muslim interpretation. Assalamualaikum and good greetings. So this particular video is brought to you by that particular comment. Earlier today we have some back and forth comment in the YouTube comment section of this particular video, and well, I think because at the end of the long thread of comment, let me see, so it ends up with basically he said CP didn't dupe people, he showed the proof. You skipped the translation part where he proved that the word fear was added in the hearts was added, and you just complaining about it. You yourself can't refute this. The verse is about Allah causing terror among the people. Have you ever heard of a God and a prophet who used terror as a weapon? First, to make a video showing the full translation part, all you did was break the video and commenting on this. I challenge you to call CP if you're brave enough. Okay, we'll ignore the grammar thing. So basically two things there. One, do a full translation, and second, call CP. I'm not sure I will be doing the second one, but this video is on the first part of dissecting the verse itself, right? So I'll divide this video, not really divide, but there will be portion where I'll go through this common thread, so that if you want to have an understanding of the back and forth discussion and leading to this point, what is the argument that he brought forth, and what was my response, and the interaction, and what is the issue at hand. And towards the end we'll focus on the verse itself. So I'll make the timestamp in the timeline there. If you want to jump straight to the verse and see what it means, feel free to do so, especially if you are the person that I'm having this back and forth with. You do not need to go through the whole these comments, because you are the one that already experiencing it right earlier today. But for the rest of you, I think generally it is good to know the background of what is the argument he brought and what was my comment until this point. Regardless, so the first thing that I want to highlight is that this comment back and forth actually take place in the comment section of this video. The title is How Daud Kim Was Duped by Islam, Christian Prince, a Muslim's reaction, and the Muslim is me. So basically I watched a video suggested by someone in the comment section that says that Christian Prince actually proved that basically Daud Kim, he reverted to Islam because he was duped. And mainly the argument is about how the Quranic translation in Korea is duping people, meaning it's misleading people, not representing the actual Quran, right? So basically that's the main thesis of Christian Prince in his video. So I reacted to most of the argument that he made, be it he highlights certain Quranic verse or hadith, but I actually skipped through a certain portion of his video where he goes through Google Translate to highlight certain points. I don't see why I need to see that, because it doesn't do much in terms of proving his points. That's the main thing. And second, the methodology of using Google Translate to say that this is intentionally done to dupe people, whatever, I don't see much weight or behind that argument. So I just skip that part. I just address where he brought forth quote unquote evidence from the Quran and Hadith. That has been addressed. But so that is where this comment come into place, right? So so he commented, he, I think, refers to me, he skipped the translation part. So the main thing is that I'm not sure whether his intention was to accuse me of intentionally skipping that part. So I asked, do you mean the Google Translate part? And he said, yeah, the Google Translate part, why you skip that? You know, brother Christian Prince don't talk without proof on his screen. You should debate him, blah, 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 right? So that's the main thing. The main thing is that, okay, the guy that comment here says that that portion is a proof of something, but you skip that, right? So it's a long thread of discussion here. I highlighted why I skipped it, etc. But it gets to a point where I thought he was shifting to a different point. So let me see here. For example, in this comment, he said, terror in heart is completely different from fear. We fear God because He is the creator and He has the power to destroy us. Terror is something caused by war, and so on. So he want to make a case that you know, the use of word fear and terror in that translation is a real problem, where the fact that terror is being hidden, you know, and replaced by fear, that doesn't show the real meaning, and the real meaning is something terrifying or something. So this is my comment to that. Are you still referring to the verse being discussed in the Google Translate part? Because I'm puzzled by that point. You know, at that point, I'm puzzled whether he is still on point, referring to the issue. The first thing that he raised is about skipping the Google Translate part. So I said, if the verse read in Arabic sanulki fi qulub, and then dash dash dash, because I just highlighted certain portion of the verse, ar-ru'b, which based on the different translation discussed, we cast into the heart dash 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 terror or fear, right? So that is the verse itself. Now if you read through the passage until reaching the verse, yes, it is in the context of war, blah blah blah, right? So I actually highlighted the background, the context, etc. And then he goes on to reply, go to the interpretation of the verse and see what Muhammad means by terror. And then he still go on with the accusation that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam using terror, and try to say that it is as if that relates directly to the verse that is being discussed. Now, so my reply, just to be clear, are we still on the topic of me not supposed to skip the translation part because it conveys something, or you already shifted to a different argument right now? In bracket, I don't really have any problem to shift to a different topic, just want to be clear. Okay, the comment here is truncated. I'm not sure how to see this. Okay, I'm not sure. Okay, anyway, I think the main gist is there. So, and then he replied, hey, I am still on the topic. Well, not, I think this is typo, right? I'm still on the topic. What's wrong with you? The terror word is in this translation. So that's the first point that he highlighted. The terror word is in the translation. Also, you said in hearts of people. This is in bracket letter added. So that's the second accusation. He says that because I said it's causing terror or fear in the heart of those people, right? So he says that no, that is inserted because it is in bracket, meaning that the word itself is just saying terror, and then some Muslim later come to interpret that or reinterpret that it is terror of the heart, not real terror. So that's the second accusation. Third, in the Arabic, nowhere it is as in, okay, I think we ignore the typo, but I think he want to say that in the actual Arabic verse, it doesn't mention heart. I was explaining to you this terror by fighting, read the interpretation of the verse and to see your prophet, etc. I'm not sure, sometimes YouTube actually, when there's so many comments in the thread, sometimes they truncate, etc. So you have to refresh to see the full thing. But anyway, I think we get the gist of that. And then he's added here, okay, whatever accusation here, Islam is a cult, whatever. All right, now, so this is my reaction to that, right? Okay, this is the full thing. Okay, now I see the confusion, Maybe because I have a background in basic Arabic, I firstly refer to the Quran verse first, meaning in the Arabic text, and then the translation. Hence, I know what the verse actually is, as compared to those who do not have any background in Arabic language. The beginning of the verse in Arabic, Sanulqi fi qulub, literally means we shall cast into the heart. So the word itself, Sanulqi fi qulub, we will see it later on in the later part of this video, the actual verse in full and the meaning. But here I'm just going through the thread of the comment first, right? So I cited the beginning of the verse saying Sanulqi fi qulub, where the word qulub is actually there, right? You cannot see that it is inserted by Muslim later on. And the word being argued in the video is the word ar-ru'b. That comes after that, meaning later in the verse, right? Sanulqi fi qulub, I don't remember, we'll see, allazina kafaru, and then ar-ru'b, right? Be it fear, terror, based on which translation. So that's the thing that Christian Prince are arguing, that there are certain agenda behind translating it to fear rather than terror, right? Also, it's not heart of people but heart of those who did. Okay, this is just additional point, right? Because it's not heart of people, but in the verse it says heart allazina kafaru. Anyway, from what I understand, what CP wanted to illustrate is as if there is an agenda to hide the word terror there, put the word fear instead to achieve certain agenda. So that's what I understand what Christian Prince want to highlight from his video by using the Google Translate or whatever, right? So he translate from, I think, Korea to English is fear, and then he translate elsewhere it's terror, and he says that the translation in Korea is purposely done in such a way to dupe people in Korea. That's basically the agenda or the point of Christian Prince. Now, but what you are saying, but what you were saying is totally something else that can be easily refuted, because the verse clearly literally stated cast into the heart, fi qulub, right? So, and if you use that misunderstanding and extrapolate to ISIS or whatever, because he mentioned in the previous verse comment that from that understanding of verse, that's justify ISIS, hence that verse actually in line with what ISIS is doing and whatever accusation he did, right? That may become like an unintentional strawman argument or something, because I still have faith that he do not do that intentionally. He really thought that that's actually what the verse is saying, hence but it's a straw man, because no, the verse did not say that. So if you make up something as if it says that, and then you use that as your basis of your argument, that's basically straw man, right? But this guy here is doing that unintentionally, at least that's my assumption, as it has no real basis, at least to those that actually check the original source, right? Okay, you can verify this. Okay, you can verify what I say if you search for word by word translation of the Quran to see that the word qulub, which means heart, in the plural, the singular word is qalb, is indeed in the verse itself, right? So I just stated, if you want to check this, you can straightway find any Quran online and verify this. Anyway, thank you very much for making the point clear, that I can understand the point you are trying to make and where the misunderstanding is, that our conversation become a fruitful one. Okay, so I thought this was the end of it, because I think I have explained clearly the verse, what is actually in the verse and where his misunderstanding is. But then he continued to comment. Alright, so let's see down here. Okay, so he comment, the verse in the Arabic doesn't say in the heart. So he is very confident of this, which is interesting. We have to admire the confidence at least. He is very confident. He says, no, the actual verse in Arabic does not say in the heart. Use Google Translate by yourself. So this is interesting, because he assumed that I do not understand Arabic and I have to use Google Translate. And the way he sentenced this comment make me think that he actually verified this. I'm not sure how this is possible, because if he actually verified this, he wouldn't be saying this statement, added to that being so confident about it, right? So then it is in the bracket. So I'm not sure which translation he see that there's bracket there, because the word heart is actually in the original verse. It's not, normally it's bracket when you have tafsir done, right? So for example, I cannot think of an example right now, but something that needs further explanation, normally that's where the bracket comes in. Anyway, don't be fooled. How can terror be caused in the heart? So that's one of the point that he keep highlighting, because the word terror means something else. What does it doesn't make sense if you use to the heart, right? So that's his argument. Terror is something that happened after destruction caused by certain group of people. I am not misunderstood. You clearly don't understand the meaning. Interesting. The conversion with me, I think conversation here. The conversation with me might be fruitful to you, but call CP. Hope you survive even 5 minutes. He will destroy you with your own words. So this is a common comment that I always receive in YouTube comments, that people always ask me to call Christian Prince, and they confidently say that I will be destroyed if I call him. I think yeah, the way he presented his video, because he shows the Arabic text, etc. I think for those who have no background that much, you can easily, you know, think that he knows what he talks about, because it appears so, right? And normally in our life, when we deal with people like that, right, when they are confidently and show things that indicate that they know what they're talking about, you tend to be confident about them, right? He must know what he talks about with this kind of presentation. Of course, for a great con man, they tend to know how to manipulate that into making people think that they actually know what they're talking about. I'm not calling Christian Prince a con man. I'm just saying, from the audience perspective, we tend to fall for that if there's a con man doing that. Anyway, going back to the comment. So my reply here is this, right? Because he confidently says that he checked the verse, no word of the heart, etc. So this is my comment. I did actually quoted the verse in Arabic in English transliteration when I say sanulki fi qulub, right? Directly from reading the verse in Arabic, and yet you choose to believe otherwise. This is a first, I would say. Who is there to fool me? Because he said, you know, don't be fooled, when I actually went directly to the verse in the Arabic itself. Did you try using Google Translate and key in the Arabic sentence to see what is the translation? Now, if you go to Google Translate, you can actually key in Arabic and then see what is the translation, right? So I asked basically, did you do that to verify? You can use the Arabic keyboard. So if you look at the screen here, right? So if you want to convert from Arabic to English, you can have this keyboard, for example, right? You can have whatever you want to write, as long as you know these letters in Arabic, and you can copy the verse. So that's one way to do it, and you can see what it means, right? So you can use Google Translate in that way. Oh, okay, so here, so I suggest that you can use the Arabic in the keyboard in the Google Translate, or I can try to paste the verse here, and you can try to copy and paste to Google Translate. So I actually copy and paste the whole verse here. Like so, here's the verse, and you can just copy and paste this and put in Google Translate, right? So, and you can try also Google the third word here, because in this verse, so sanulki fi qulub. So this is basically the third word, qulub. And I also paste it here, qulub, and see what it means. So you can bring this qulub, bring to Google Translate, and it will show you hearts. You know, so it's clear heart is in the verse, right? Sanulki fi qulub, this is heart. When you ask how can terror be caused in the heart, so that's basically his question there. So one of the question that he said, right? I believe this is exactly why some translation use the word fear to make it more accurate to the way the language is used in English or respective language, because in that language, for example, if the word here ar-ru'b translate into terror, then what does that mean? So in a word that is more easily digestible by those people in English, for example, maybe fear does make sense, or in Korean or whatever. So that's the issue of translation, to put the word that fits how people understand that meaning, the original meaning, right? Okay, so that was my reply, and then he replied back again. You said it's terror. If it's terror, why use fear? Okay, so, and how stupid is the Quran if use terror instead of fear? I'm not sure what he tried to make, what point he tried to make here. The words were added in translation in bracket. So again, I'm not sure where he get this from. And then he said, I verified it, and it's not the same. Terror or fear in the hearts of people is completely different from what you are saying. Just accept that you don't want to believe your prophet used terror to promote his religion. You can even use the interpretation of the verse to clarify what it means. So again, he's still very, very confident of what he's saying. Now, so I go back to this, right? The word in the verse is ar-ru'b. This is in Arabic ar-ru'b. This is just, if he do not know how to read Arabic, so I just write in English transliteration here. If you Google the translate the whole verse, it will translate the word terror, right? We will show that after this in Google Translate. But if you just Google this word, only this word, it will translate to the word horror. We can I will show you in Google Translate as well here, right? You can actually straightway try this. Okay, so Christian Prince tried to make a case as if the different translation in his video is to dupe people. Why is this translation differ as such? I don't know. Okay, so this is about, because his comments say if this is the translation, why is being translated as such. So my point here is, ask those who publish that translation. I do not know, but that's not the Quran. That's the translation of the Quranic verse done by someone to help someone in a different language understand the original verse. Again, I still do not understand how any discussion of this verse suddenly can jump to unrelated topic like the use of terror, right? Unless that was the intention of Christian Prince, to portray it as such. Hopefully not, because I would like to assume he do not have the intention to intentionally dupe and mislead people. Yeah, okay. So towards the end here, he said, CP didn't dupe people, he showed the proof. You skip the translation part where he proved and the word fear was added, the heart was added. Okay, so he keep on repeating confidently that those are added, not originally in the verse. We will go into the verse. Okay, so here he says make the video, etc. Now this is the verse. So if you go to Quran.com, you will see, okay, if you find the surah number 3, surah Ali Imran, and then verse 151, which is the verse that Christian Prince is highlighting on. So go to this Quranic verse here. So this is 3151 here, right? أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم سنلقي في قلوب الذين كفروا الرعب بما أشركوا بالله ما لم ينزل به سلطانا ومأواهم النار وبئس مثوى الظالمين. صدق الله العظيم. And then you have two different translation down here. So one translation: we will cast horror into the hearts of the disbeliever. Sorry, the disbeliever. So if I focus on this part, because this is what is being argued again and again about, is there hearts there and horror or terror here, right? The other translation is here, right? We will cast terror into the hearts of, and so on, right? So if you go to the Arabic text here, right? So if you just put in on top of these words, you can see the translation individually. So Sanulki, we will cast, fi, in, kulub, hearts, allazina kafaru, so those who disbelieve, ar-ru'b, terror. Right? So this is one way. You can clearly see, okay, this is kulub, hearts, this is ar-ru'b, terror. Right? Now, so it several things. One, this has nothing, if he want to jump from this verse to say that this justify any assumption or claim that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used terror, or this verse is promoting the use of terror or whatever. This verse has nothing that imply any command for Muslim to do anything. This is just Allah is saying sanulki, we, because nun here refer to nahnu, right? We will cast into the heart of the kufur terror or fear or horror, whatever you want to use. That is part of the discussion. But whatever Allah is doing to the heart of those disbeliever, those enemy, is Allah doing to their heart, and it's in that context whether their heart become trembling in fear or terrified or whatever. That's the implication. It has nothing to do with terror like the commenter want to imply, right? When you use destruction or whatever, it has nothing to do with this verse. So that should be clear for anyone who refer to the original text and have a healthy mind, right? So that's quite clear. Second, kulub, that's clearly is there. And third, if those 2 points are clear, so it is less or not significant at all whether the word terror or horror or fear is used here, because that's just to describe what is happening or what is being done by Allah to the heart of those people, right? Any of those words is just the heart is caused to fear, trembling or whatever, right? Terrified. It has nothing to do with terrorism, right? Okay, so Google Translate. Okay, this is if you want to refer to because he trusts Google Translate more if you listen to the comments just now, right? So let's use Google Translate. Of course, here we cannot copy this one and put in Google Translate because of the formatting. So normally what I do, one way, if you have your Microsoft Word and you have the Quran plug in here, so you just find Ali Imran, this is a word, verse 151, and just insert ayat so you can see the verse, and then we'll make it big here just for you to see. Let's see. So that's actually the same verse, right? A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Sanulki fi qulubil ladzina kafaru ru'ba bima asyraku billahi ma lam yunazzil bihi sultana wa ma'wahumun nar wa bi'sa maswaz zalimin. Sadaqallahu azim. Right, so I can copy this whole thing and then put here, right? So this is the verse with the number of the verse here. So right, so sanulki fi qulubil ladzina kafaru ru'b, we will cast terror in the hearts, right? So that's basically the meaning. So we have again and again various way to show that into the heart is clearly in the verse. And okay, I mentioned just now in the comment to him and also to all of you that if you take the whole verse, of course the translation will say we will cast terror into the hearts of those who disbelieve, etc., right? But if you just split this, right, for example, sanulki, we will fruit. Okay, interesting, because normally in the hearts, so fi qulub, clearly in the hearts, allazina kafaru is those who disbelieve, right? And then because I just want to highlight this part, right? Ar-ru'b. So ar-ru'b here is translated as horror, right? So as on its own, if you just take this, so if I just use this one, ar-ru'b, horror, right? But if you take the full verse, it is terror. So this is just how translation work. If you just take one word in isolation without any context, maybe the word is like this, horror. So if you just put here, because one of the translation in Quran.com actually use this one, right? But if normal terror tend to be used, but for those who don't understand what does that mean, so fear is used just to highlight the meaning in a way that those reader understand. Regardless, it is about what Allah is doing to the hearts of those who become the enemy of Allah and the messenger. Right, so I think the point is made about, because the whole comment is about the translation of the verse. And I think going back to your comment just now where you say about first to make a video showing the full translation part, hopefully I have done that to show that, you know, the verse is there. You can refer to yourself, check for yourself, go to the source. The source is the Quranic verse. I'm not saying the source is Christian Prince, whatever he says, right, or his video. And then you can research on your own, and then you can see that this is not in bracket. This, the verse itself, Qulub is there, and within that context, then this becomes secondary. If you want to debate, is it terror, is it horror, is it fear? Why does it matter? Any of those, it doesn't. Meaning you still get the idea, and you will not suddenly conclude something that is not related about using destruction of terror or whatever. How can you jump there unless you have your bias dictating your understanding of primary source? If that is the case, your methodology need to be, you know, rectified. Anyway, that's it for this video. Hopefully this is beneficial for the guy that comment, so that you can understand what I'm trying to say. That's it, I think. And for the rest of you, hopefully this is also beneficial in one way or another. Yeah, so any other thing that needs to be clarified, do tell. Hopefully we can do that in the next opportunity, inshallah. Yeah, so it is puzzling. How can someone be so confident that he is right when you just simply go to the primary source and you can see that what's actually there, and how whatever you heard from Christian Prince, I do understand, because Christian Prince shows something in the screen and it's Arabic, and then he confidently says something and it seems like, oh, he knows what he's talking about. So you will assume that what presented by him is actually representing the correct understanding of the primary source. Hence, you will conclude that you do not need to actually yourself do your own research and analysis on the primary source, even though it's there, because someone trustworthy already done it for you, and you can hang on to his conclusion. But this is already my third time showing that whatever presented by Christian Prince is because I do not want to talk too much about this, but whenever someone says please debate him or talk to him, because this is already the third time that I clearly showed. I'm not sure whether he intentionally tuned his presentation to mislead people, or he himself have misunderstanding that he is convinced of. I'm not sure which one is the case, but that's it. Thank you for watching. See you next time.